Now, after 3 election campaigns and almost a year and a half without a permanent government, a government has finally been sworn in. To understand why its birth was so difficult, joining us is Rabbi Dov Lipman, former MK from the Yesh Atid Party. Rabbi, thanks so much for being with us. Now, after the Likud Party drama that prevented the government from swearing in last Thursday, it finally happened. What was the reason that the Prime Minister, his party partners, decided to delay this inauguration?
Netanyahu had 16, 17 portfolios to give out, and many more people than that wanted to be members of the government. Remember, he has a bloc of 58, 59 members, which include other parties. Once he gave out some of those ministries to the other parties, he was left with just 10 for his party, with 16, 17 members thinking they deserved to be ministers. So Netanyahu worked very hard to try to fulfill all of their desires, even creating brand new ministries. The Minister of Water, as an example, just to be able to give people positions. And he wasn't able to have that in order by Thursday until this morning. He didn't have an order within Likud, but he was able to finally present that government this afternoon and have the inauguration proceed.
All right, well, so who were the lucky ones, so to speak, in these appointments? Because, as you said, not everybody got what they asked for, and even of the 2 so-called mutineers from last week who boycotted the ceremony, only one, Tzachi Hanegbi, was actually given any sort of ministry.
Well, I'll actually go the opposite way. The 2 ones who were left out were Avi Dichter, who was a former head of the Israel Internal Security Agency, and Nir Barkat, the former minister of Jerusalem, 2 very prominent members of Likud who were in the top 10, and they are now relegated to just being members of the Knesset and not ministers. And the Prime Minister, very interestingly, found very top positions for people who are much further back on the list. One example is Amir Ohana, who is number 21 on the list, and he's going to be the Minister of Public Security. Some very interesting developments as Netanyahu seemed to push away some who had greater strength within the party and preferred to surround himself with those who were somewhat weaker within the Likud.
So who are Netanyahu's allies, really, and where are they? Because we know that some of them are spread out within the coalition and some within the opposition as well.
Absolutely. His number 1 allies are the people who he gave some of the prime positions to. Amir Ohana, who I just mentioned, Miri Regev, who's going to be the transportation minister for 18 months, and then she's going to be the foreign minister. So he has surrounded himself in some very close positions with some of those close allies.
But the people higher up on the Likud list are not that close to him?
So it's interesting, the Likud has primaries, and people who are higher up, that means that they have greater support. And Netanyahu clearly wants to continue as prime minister even beyond this election cycle. Didn't want to raise people up. I'll give you another example. Gideon Sa'ar, who is a very experienced minister who challenged Netanyahu in the primaries, but is in the top 5 of the party apparatus, was not offered any kind of a ministry. All he was offered was an ambassadorship far away from Israel. He declined that, and he'll be a regular member of Knesset. This is part of the political game which Netanyahu has played for years, which is that as people gain in power within the party, in order to maintain his position in strength and leadership of the party, he uses the power of prime minister to diminish their ability to grow even further in their power.
All right, well, it'll be really fascinating to see how this brand new unity government, this rotational government, something we've never seen before, actually moves on to its operational phase and how that's going to look like. Rabbi Lipman, thank you so much, as always, for being with us. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.